Son, you leave me blind. You left me like summer. Left me like summer. You left me like summer. Okay, so sometimes my mom gets the idea of buying me clothes. And since I'm not like a huge wasteful person, like I really buy clothes in general, rarely. I don't really buy clothes for myself. Most of the clothes that I have now have been hand me downs, um, or bought for me by someone else. And then there's very few articles of clothing that I have that was like, actually, I don't think I have anything. No, that's a lie. But it was bought with someone else's money. Um, but the winter jacket that I have, the one that looks like a teddy bear, that heavy ass coat, fully unnecessary, except for in like deep, deep winter. And like it barely gets to like deep, deep winter, at least enough to wear that jacket. Anyway, my mom bought me two tops and two bottoms. One of them are like faux leather brown pants. They are so cute, first of all. Those are so cute. Um, and the other was the stretchy, like kind of business pants. Both the pants are stretchy. Um, because honestly, it is much easier to get. But anyway, I like the waistband of the second pair of pants, the business ones that are red. Um, and I'm just like, I don't have enough skirts, so I cut it. And it's like they're my clothes. You bought them for. You said multiple times they were for me. So I cut off the legs, turning it into a skirt, so a pencil skirt, and I also have pockets. And then I'm gonna fold it under to make it a little bit shorter, just because I like the style of band it has. And they were a little too tight to put on around the legs. I don't know. I'm sorry about it. Cause like for me, getting into like bottoms, it was never really an issue of the waist. I actually have a relatively small to my size waist. I have a small waist. Again, relative to my size. Uh, so like the widest part of me is like my belly butt area, which again is with my shape flatter. Yeah, sure, it's rounded, but like it's a bit flatter. Um, because when I was younger, I would do crunches, so I was training my stomach to be flat. I need an at-home gym. Anyway, with some of the scraps, I like the shape of one of them, so I turned into like a little headband thing because it could like just fit around my head. It's a little bit big, but like anyway. And then because I had to do the front and the back side, so I had double. I turned the other one, the other little strap that I cut off in the skirt, into horns that I'm applying to the headband. And as of right now, the horns are too heavy to be supported by it. But like I'm thinking of, so first of all, sewing the horns in place. Like, and it's that classic devil red too. So I guess that's what I'm gonna be for Halloween. But yeah, and then once they're sewn in place, reinforcing the headband by sewing something on top. So it has a little bit more structure enough to, and the inside of the horns, because they're not just like a flap, the inside of the horns is stuffed with more scrap fabric. I am, I do not like wasting fabric. I want to use all of it that I can. Like I want to be at least attempt to be sustainable in the fashion that I have in the way that I can. Because again, I barely buy clothes, so like that is one of the things. And like when I don't like something that someone has given to me, I just reuse the fabric or see ways that I could just like alter it so I could still make use of the thing of the item while also getting more use of it than I would if I had it. You know, and that is the philosophy of DIY and why I say I am grunge. Ready me casually, Maybelline. Back of my foot, I got style. I got taste. See again, the music lining up. I'm trying to move. I, I actually found this artist through a mutual follower. This is Dear Silas. And I found this song because he was promoting this artist that he like, and I liked the music, and I like left a message being like, can I get a list of the artists that you listen to? This was like I wasn't expecting like a long list, bro. It was a long list. I didn't go through it. This was like literally the first or second person I looked up. Like I looked up because he wrote down like specific songs with the artist, and Dear Silence was one of them. And I listened to the song, right? And then I found like I listened to the album that it was on, and I really liked it. Showed it to my sister, and she liked the song because it's a vibe, bro. Um, your wife, tell me you're my girl. Hashtag friend. You make my world around me. My girlfriend. Yes, I Girl, did I do my makeup? I don't know your words. Telling me my girl, girl. I want you that you wreck my world. I want you around me. You, my girl. I got the same. I got you. I got girl. If they don't know your words, telling me my girl, girl. And anything you want is yours. Ah, I'm such a daddy's girl. I really am. So, nice betrayed. Here we go. Sorry time, because this one's the plus episode. This one's the bonus episode. So, in by story time, I mean I'm gonna explain one of my stories to y'all. Nice betrayed. Who you're following, right? Yes, Valkai is the main character, but she isn't. The story isn't about her. The story is about the emperor. Because it isn't a kingdom, it's an empire. They had gone on to build an entire empire where slavery is allowed. They are not necessarily good people, but that is exactly why Valkai's role, her family role, is parasocial, codependent. You aren't just being ruled by the head family. Because the head family are emotional people. They're going to be emotional. They're going to have emotions. Um, and the lineage is passed down to the firstborn. And they tend to not have many children. Like, they are a child and they have to inherit the kingdom. Do you not kingdom, the empire? Do you know how hard that is? It is very difficult. All these pressures of like, and they're trained at it from a young age. You are trained to become the next emperor. And to know that whatever you say is an absolute rule. They had to learn that as a kid. Again, this is like I built out the world with ChatGPT because I wanted to tell the story in an indirect way. Like at least get the points that I'm hitting upon across. So the empire entirely started. I've got to write the whole history. But like how tied into the latter half of the story. Because at the end of Knights Betrayed, it's still like it's a series of books. It just starts with Valkai. And you learn that Valkai herself, her entire lineage is a gamble because of the very first, like, she's her life is a betting game. And she doesn't learn that until later, after she's already died, which for her, death isn't permanent. They don't know that. But she is a betting game in between her very, very, very great the start of her lineage, basically. The start of her entire family tree. She is a pawn in the betting game of him and Satan because they were friends and that was their friendship. And it goes back to like, yeah, Satan in this is the demon lord, but how he inherited becoming the demon lord was because he pushed too far into crossing hell and ended up cursing the entire land. The area they grew up in didn't know death. They didn't know death. And they still don't, except for now when they die, they go into hell and come back because he's thinned the veil so much, becoming the demon lord. Because, like, their bet was basically who, just entirely who would win between me and you. They were academic rivals. They constantly challenge each other, right? I know his name starts with a V, but I feel like it was like Vito or something like that. Oh, this is me realizing I have never heard this song before. Oh, it's nice. Yeah, I was kind of hoping it would come on organically so I could hear it, but I added it to my like songs list anyway. Just basically to see what it flows. But this is Wisdom by Sarah Lugar. I remember seeing the TikTok um, of why she had been off TikTok for so long. And I was like, oh my God, you were one of the OGs that I watched when I got TikTok. Like, you were the girl, right? And she said that she talked about how she had fallen on hard times and then told people that she was starting to do music. And it basically asks, can you guys go pre-save it? And I added it because I liked it based off of the couple seconds that I heard. And this is my first time actually fully listening to the song. And then recent, or at least more recently, um, she made a TikTok saying how she regrets doing that because people on the internet have been very weird about it. Like, the reason why she was off TikTok is because, like, you know, she was going through something like mental shit. I don't know what the comments were like, but like comments are not kind to black women, especially dark black women. So I can only imagine. Um, K3PT Agtha remix. Peak. Love it. Perfect. Very montage. Okay. I want my man. Uh, I keep going back and forth and, trying to improve myself. Still trying to improve myself. Always trying to improve myself because I feel like, you know, I'm still working on my loving myself journey. And it's like, if I can't see how you could see beauty in me, I need to work on that. I need to work on that. On believing someone and trusting that when they say that they love me, right? Which is probably why I resonate with Venom by Slum Princess, right? Because all the love I got and what I poured in, and it will tell you that the love that they gave was straight venom. And that is reflected. And wow, I never finished explaining Nights Betrayed. Anyway, it's supposed to be lighthearted, a little bit deep, but like just a little bit deep, slightly comedic because that's how I write it. Just everything's got to have at least a little comedy in it. The other night, in the morning, we spend so much time being jaded. Gotta be jaded. Ah, another perfectly timed song. Singing to heaven back she'd been. Yeah, jaded by near tears. To be unhappy. Unhappy. Cause at the end of the night, I love the moment. Wasting so much time being jaded. I don't want to be jaded. So when I first heard the song, little story about me, I thought Jaded was synonymous with being high, right? But the term of jaded, what it means, it's because I had this under a different J name in my head, but I call it gypped, right? When you're duped in a way. And basically, the feeling of being a sore loser. Like, everything you do pisses me off. And, like, just thinking about all the things that you did, I'm still thinking about, like, how you treated me. I'm just being tired of it all. Being jaded is like a tired anger because it's an acceptance anger. And so saying, I don't want to be jaded is the next part. True acceptance. Because you gotta get you have to allow yourself that time to be angry, right? Because that is you finding out all the things that was done. So it's like it rings true more. Because it can apply to a lot of things and people in my life. Just each version of the idea of what jaded meant. Oh, another one of my all-time favorite songs. Give Me All Your Love, Alabama Shakes, which also could be applied to many things. I was gonna do a part two of reading my diary. I hold that off for later. So much is going on, but you can always come around. Why don't you sit with me for just a little while? Tell me what's wrong. You just give me all your love. Give me all you got, babe. Give me all your love. And I have and still have will be both sides of this conversation. Just sit down and talk to me for a little while. And also been the person just screaming to be loved. Then why don't you talk to me for just a little while? I know try to make it right. You just give me all your love. Give me all you got, babe. Ooh. Give me all your I used to like sing this song at the top of my lungs because I could have gone so far if you had just given me your love. And then back to the acceptance part once more, where this, where it's just the drums. I call this the dance break. I jumped in a little bit too early. Down now. Give me all your love. Give me all you got, babe. Ooh, just to give me all your love. Ooh. Like literally all that, the crescendo. You're building up, and finally you just yell it out loud to the person. Just give me all you. And in the end, still couldn't do it. Oh, okay, hit me with another one. Giving by Giovanna and Austin Mark. And it gives like the song gives such island girl vibes. Cause I've always been near water. Like my legacy. Not legacy, but like who I am as a human being. My reincarnations and stuff like that. Always near some body of water. Like we had a strip of beach on our borders. My family's from Nigeria. That is a water. It's a coastal um country. Yeah. And even in Massachusetts, technically, also a coastal. It's a coastal state. And I do. Oh, and one of the reasons I love the Mediterranean, right? One of the reasons my go-to place, like if I'm going to travel, and the only way I know I made it is because I'm able to take this trip, whether it be solo or with somebody else or with some friends I just met. I'm going to Greece. I gotta be in Greece because the Romans from the Roman Empire not only very influenced the Greeks, but were very they were. influenced by the Greeks. I gotta be amongst that history. So yeah, besides that, not really many. Actually, no. After I go to Greece, right, I'm also gonna do a China trip. Uh, and I want to go and do like and just hit up Southeast Asia. Nobody put this away. And that will be like, a couple different trips. But then again, besides that, just like, I'm okay with you taking me anywhere. Like, I will travel anywhere for work, right? Yeah, I'm willing to be flown out anywhere, and I will have a good time as long as my safety is secured. Oh, you're inviting a bunch of other influencers just to have a nice little spa day, basically, because they promoted or are going to be promoting your project. You're rewarding the people because they are their employees, their contract. So it's just like, hey, you've been. That's what PR is. You keep the public relations about us really good. Here is your reward for doing that, and like you get content. Like we show them how well we can treat you, how well we do treat you. Okay, going back to Nice Betrayed. Let me explain the little story and a little more of the backstory. So, Vigo and Satan made a deal, right? And the deal was basically to venture outside of their borders because they also had never left their country. Never left their country. Um, and Satan made a bet that he wouldn't be able to find, like, get his way back, work his way back, talk himself out of any situation because that's the kind of gambler that Vigo was. He was a smooth talker, very smooth talker. He was a swindler, and he could get himself out of any situation. And again, they were best friends. They were always up to some antics. They were top mage students. But one of them was doing dark magic that thinned the veil in between hell and their country. And teaching these people about death, right? And Vigo was arguing against it about how you could use how you could use magic in various ways, and that maybe that isn't something that we mess with, right? It was basically the entire lives are basically like an argument of philosophies. They're both philosophers at the end of the day who put their philosophers, scientists, same thing, right? Who put their hypotheses to the test. And he was able to take over. He took over their country. Because that is what happens when you earn a mage title. You become an overseer, someone who takes charge of their country. Because it's a very heavily magic based country. That's another thing we'll see through my books, where magic does exist. Because in the kingdom, sorry, the empire that we follow, the Volmits, um, you can see through them. Magic is not a common thing. But I'm just deciding his name is Vigo now. Because I'm just going to continue to call him that until I go back. Vigo. He left and he allowed himself to become a slave, right? To a place that was big in slavery. But the thing is, he immediately talked himself into being a slave of a noble with a son around his age. Actually, no, that's a lie. Um, a son? No, it's not. It is, but it isn't. Because they were a deathless society, they kind of had a stasis. They were like a reincarnating society, right? But like they had such long lives that it seemed they wouldn't die, and they also didn't kill people there. So nothing was destroyed or created. And it's like, how do you continue to push society forward and magic forward? Because they did grow up, right? They still like they're still were children, but it's like these are all just the same people finding the same person again while renewing their forms, basically. And so Vigo is kind of like a youngish adult um, as he's captured, and he becomes the the butler or something, the direct servant of a high-ranking noble for their kid, right? To make sure he was growing up right. And their kid did not like the way his parents were doing things because they treated Vigo not like he was below them, right? And that was always the argument because it was just like not only like because they bought him. He was a slave, meaning that they did not see him as a human, but he had magic and was just naturally gifted in magic because that's his entire country. He could just do these things, and magic was a very rare sight, and only people with like high ranking blood had magic. Oh, stop and let go. Stop and let go. Stop and let go. Oh, stop and let go. Oh, sorry. I know me singing it sounds heinous because I can't hear the way I sound right now. Ah, ankles on me though. Shout out to Mara Mara Michelle, also an Aries, also a March Aries. Um, the reason why I liked her is because she looked like me, and she was an Aries, right? Just a little bit more ahead in life, and she was making music. And the first song, I could, it might have been this song, but one of her songs. No, it was "I Ain't Got No Friends Anymore. I'm Lonely." It was that song that made me find her. Because at the time, I really didn't. I ain't got no friends. And I liked her song, and she looked like me in the face. And I don't find many people who look like me. Stop and let go. Ooh, stop and let go. Stop and let go. Stop and let go. Ooh, stop and let go. Anyway, Vigo, a little bit older, and also this is what he noticed. Vigo also noticed he had a shorter lifespan outside of his country. He was aging at the same rate as they were. Because that's the thing. That's another thing about the area they lived in. It was so magic dense, right? That there was a time dilation. They had time to learn these things and grew up very, very slowly. And then outside of the country, he ages faster. And that's another common thing that you will see in my world building is that while yes, there was time dilation, that's because they're in different universes, in different realms. There's going to be a time dilation between them, like bringing in the old vampire trope while he is still mentally at that age anyway. Because in the realm that the male main lead in Nothing Between Us, Clyde, is from, he Every 10 years there was a year on Earth. And it was designed by his grandpa. Not his grandpa, his great grandpa. Because, and this is, oh, because I'm writing history books for this, bro. I love doing that. And the story for this goes, and yes, this does tie into Nice Betrayed, but the story is, and this is the one where the book in the series that is about the hags. You see his grandpa through the hags work because you see how they operate. There are people who go to them, like, can just go to them and ask for their help. And then there are people who need them, are in dire straits, and end up at their door. Because you wouldn't end up at their door if there wasn't something you desired. And they got it to you and they sold it to you for a price. But yeah, his great grandfather, family man, studio scholar, honestly, very well known and liked in the vampire community in general. He was a teacher, and he had all these disciples who were studying what his main focus was and what his main magic is, which ties into like the male main lead. He has inherited his power. That is the power of the Vanderbilts. Yeah, there's other powers that like show up during it. And that's also why his power is in a showcase. It's because he is one of the vampires who was born with the gift of being able to open up rifts and control realms. And basically, um, because everything it ties back to racism, right? Basically, my rewriting of a vampire is that all the things that people say about them, right, is actually just like PR and how it could have been slanderous, you know, setting it up for unrest, civil unrest, because humans were jealous of people who weren't human. And when you're jealous, you turn into being racist. So it's a big allegory for racism. Uh, Honestly, bloodsucker is a slur because in my thing, how I write, like biting and drinking the blood of another person, it is like a deeply intimate thing. Not necessarily to like um, enthrall them, no, but like it is a soul binding thing. You are promising your eternity with that person. Kind of like, I think, Castlevania. I've never watched Castlevania, but I feel like it. Some of it could be, some of what I'm talking about could be seen in Castlevania. But suffice to say, I did sleep twice. I can't remember my dreams really, but I remember feeling something. And I could say after I was all, what are you doesn't respond? Take a text from. I saw my dream man in my dream. And we were talking, and then my memory was wiped. Oh, he's really good at disappearing. Really good at it. It's just kind of like my opposite, the opposite of me, where I cannot hide that I am there. Truthfully, I am always the moment. Sorry, like I'm always in the middle of something. Um, there have been dreams where I have been like in detective school, like literally a school to become a detective, and you get to work with like a detective. Um, like you're their lackey, and basically the classroom was filled with the kids that the detective had saved, and I was one of the kids. I was one of the first kids, and I really wanted to continue on his work. I wanted to be his successor. Cause like I want you to be able to retire. I want to see you live and retire and not have to worry about who will take up this mantle. And I can say wholeheartedly, I understood how tough his job was because he got no respect. And I command respect, right? He was a very honorable man. I say was like he's fucking dead. He isn't. Just retired. um, but yeah, there was a dream I had where I was like a detective or journalist of some sort, but like a detective. I was working on a case, and it was connected to a case I had worked on before when I was with him. And I was just like, I'm gonna investigate deeper into this. And I did. And this is where everybody hated me. I killed the person. And like, because I'm trying to make me feel guilty for getting rid of that person who was not helpful. And the only person I actually cared about the opinion of was her child. She had a daughter who was my friend. So like, if there was any person I needed to, and I completely understand if she wanted to stop being friends with me, because I killed her mom. And I'm sorry I had to do it because she was actively hurting you too, and I couldn't allow that. But like when you rescue, not rescue, I'm not gonna use that use. When you open the eyes up to a victim, they want to deny it for as long as they can. Because that would remind them of all the discomfort and pain that they felt. And I knew she was gonna need some time, maybe not to see my face. Because like sometimes you are very attached to your abuser. But like she had gone into isolation for a couple of days. And I was trying to walk back, just feeling so guilty on her behalf. Like she was the only person I wanted to say sorry to. And then she ended up being the one to cheer me up because she wasn't mad at me. Only to find my dream was alive. Ooh, okay. I should probably go eat something. I think I might make myself a bevy. A little beverage. I got sorrel. I'll just have hibiscus in it. Yeah. I'm gonna make myself a little tea. An iced tea. So that means I gotta say goodbye. But I do love y'all. Love you, love you.